Um, just to explain a couple of things that I usually consider a few things that I might say in these blogs before I record them. But if you've ever watched any of my other videos, I never edit anything. I sit down and I just sort of say things, and I feel like it's a lot better way of getting an honest thought out because you don't get it, you can't delete it, you can't go back and rewrite that. Everything you say is just what you said, and so if you really focus in and try and record a video blog, try and really free associate. Just speak honestly. Just go, 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 and then just keep talking, and then talk about a particular topic and see what comes out of your head. So I had a conversation today with a Muslim. He's not just a Muslim. I mean, he's a friend of mine from work, but he happens to be a Muslim, and the topic of Islam came up in conversation because of that mosque, the mosque they're trying to build at Ground Zero, right? Not really Ground Zero, but whatever. So mentioned it came up. I don't know. Yeah, like I don't care if somebody wants to build a mosque. Who cares whether it's 2 blocks away or 200 yards away? I mean, whatever. I mean, if they got the permits and the whatever, build whatever you want. It's all good to me. I don't care. I just don't like when when they try and change laws to respect certain people's beliefs, to make nice with them. That kind of behavior can't be allowed in society. Free expression, free ideas have to be freely exchanged. We can't censor ourselves. We can't keep things quiet and say, "Hey, yeah, you guys can believe whatever you want," and it's all good. It's all good because no, that's not. I don't think that's a reasonable way of going about polite society. You don't let people walk around believing crazy things and at the same time holding positions of extreme power. You don't want somebody who believes Elvis is still alive, you know, running the U.S. Treasury. I mean, if you have that kind of thought process going on, there's something wrong with your mind, clearly. So when it comes to believing things like, I don't know, an example would be believing that you get 72 virgins in a paradise after you die if you die in the right circumstances. Say if you believe something like that, that seems on order with something as crazy as believing Elvis is still alive, maybe even a little crazier. But since it's a core tenet of a, popular, well, not popular, but a very large populous religion, then suddenly it's not a crazy nonsensical belief anymore. So it's scripture. So we have to give it some kind of respect. But the same thing goes for Christianity or Buddhism or any other ideology or belief system that exists. Everything is under scrutiny. Everything is always constantly being challenged. I think that's basically the whole point of having different denominations of any belief system, is that they disagreed about something, right? So if they can just disagree about whatever it was that divided them in the first place, they probably disagree about other things. And the people who disagree with them also disagree with the other side, and that's what creates all these different denominations. And then there are people like me who don't really believe much of what we hear from anyone, because I don't think anybody really knows for sure anything with any certainty. I mean, there are certain things that we do know for sure, like we are conscious and we're aware of ourselves and our surroundings. We may be delusional, we may not see what's really there, but we are definitely conscious. We're aware of ourselves and our surroundings, and whatever they may be. This may not really be a desk. I might be hallucinating, plugged into the matrix, right? But at least I'm still aware. I'm still here. So that's not a new idea. That's an old philosophical thing. Like, we know that we're conscious, but we don't know where we came from. We don't know how life originated. We don't know how the universe began exactly. And we've come up with ideas about that in the past, and those have formed core belief systems or religions. But then science came along and started picking away at a lot of those old beliefs, and now we don't do a lot of the old things that were the things that we used to do, like well, I wanted to use the term or the word exorcism because we don't do that anymore. But I guess we still sort of do that in some places. But people don't really think that they're possessed with devils and demons. They know they have epilepsy, or there's a million things that they used to say explained these things, but now we know what the answer is, right? So in modern day, the way religions work, they're not making. I think most people that are defending their religion in conversations like this don't seem to understand that the non-believing side, the side that I come from, is not saying that there's anything wrong with having a church or having a belief system or a functioning system of moral values. I mean, of course, that's all very important. What we're saying is that the beliefs that you hold about certain things, like the existence of God, the origin of species on Earth, all these different ideas that certain belief systems like Islam and Judaism and Christianity, of course, they claim to know certain things that we know for a fact are false now. And they defend those ideas because they are part of the core belief system that's sort of written in their brain from whenever they first started with Christianity. They learned the Adam and Eve story at the same time as they learned every other thing that they were learning at the time, and then they think it's part of actual knowledge. They were in science class, and they learned about the planets and the other, they orbit around the sun. They learned that in school, and then they go to church and then they learn that God created, Adam and Eve in a garden, and there was Eve ate from the tree, and that cast them into sin. That's not true. That's an old story. It's an old Jewish legend, and it's not true. It's same with the Noah's Ark story. This is not a true story. This is not something that needs to be defended as true by the religious side. It's clearly false, and it's not something that's being argued seriously. No non-believer is seriously arguing you that it's false, because it's clearly, obviously false. It's not taken seriously as literal truth by any respectable intellectual person or scientist or anybody who would be in charge. These are not serious issues. The serious issues are when one group says that their book is absolutely true and correct and must be followed, and without all of society bowing a knee and believing this particular scenario, this particular belief, religion, that's when we have a problem. That's when you have a whole group of people who insist that they're right, that they know better, and that they know how to run things, and they know how to be in charge, and they know the mind of God. They're making quite, large claims for themselves. Islam does this. They say that they have the final word. They're the final revelation. They're in charge, and they will be obeyed. They will take over the world. That's their goal. Maybe not each individual Americanized Muslim, but I talked to one today, and he said that his sense of reasoning is through the Bible, or through the Quran and the Hadith, and my sense of reasoning is through science and logic. And I think he's misusing the term reason. Your sense of reasoning comes through science and technology and mathematics and reasoned logic and all that stuff. Those are things that I use for reasoning. And instead, he uses the Quran. Like, you can just sort of pick and choose your tools for reasoning. And I realized that this, and he also said that he believes that what's true in the Quran is true because it's not written vaguely like it's written in the Bible. It's not written in such a way that it could be misunderstood or anything like that. He says because it's written clearly, like, you do this and this is why, right? It says that in some kind of authoritative way. That's why he believes it. He believes it because of the force that the words convey. The just energy and the passion and the just solidity of those words makes him believe it's true. And it took me so much effort to get him to just concede the fact that when a non-believer and a believer are debating, or anybody, or any two people are talking about any issue, it is a fact that it is possible that both of them are wrong. Okay? I could be wrong about everything. I could be completely wrong, and the other guy could be right. It's possible. There are certain circumstances that would have to exist in order for that to be proven, but it's possible. Now, I could be wrong. I always could be wrong. Now, it's very difficult to get the other guy to admit that. just to concede it. Just say, if you can start a polite conversation with that admission at the beginning. Hey, yeah, I could be wrong about all of this politics that we're about to discuss. I could be wrong with my opinions, but I don't think I am. I'm going to defend my views, but I will concede any points you make. If I'm mistaken about any particular thing, I will admit that, and we'll go forward. That's how a real polite discussion goes. Now, when it comes to arguing, or debating religious views, they're just not. It's just not an option. They will not admit that they might be wrong, even though it's called faith. It's not called knowledge, right? If you know, I know this is a desk. I know it's black, right? Because those are just what the words mean. I mean, I know this. It's not like I know this like I know gravity exists. I know it because it's just an understanding of the word, right? And then, I know, if I drop a ball, it's going to fall. And then I know if I do it again, it'll do it again. I know this based on, of course, everything falls. We just understand this. It's knowledge. And then, but you can't say that God exists, right? You can't say that. Nobody can say that. That's why they call it faith. They don't say they know. They have faith. And when the reason you can't know it is because you don't ever actually see God. You never actually hear God. And if you do, probably not really him. It's probably you. That's why every time people hear the voice of God, they always end up doing what they would want to have done, rather than what is actually what a God would want you to do if there's really a loving God, right? Like take care of the sick, and explore the world and take care of the planet, and every other positive thing that we in modern day can say is a positive thing about a human being that you could be, like a humanitarian. Nobody who's ever heard the voice of God ever went on to be a great humanitarian. I mean, it was the other way around always, right? Everybody throughout history who said that they had a direct line to God were always corrupt, either evil dictator politicians or some crazy church leader or cult leader. And they would always end up, having 500 wives, and basically they owned the earth because they had they either were God or they were they had a direct line to God. Nowadays we have people on TV just they talk about Jesus and the Lord and all this stuff, and it's not true that there's actually a God watching you right now. It's not actually the case. Okay, this is an old story. This is an old belief, and there are certain things that are taught by people throughout history, like the Golden Rule, and don't kill, don't steal, and various positive things that have trickled down throughout, as societies changed, and we're getting better. And then we develop technology, and we develop more knowledge. I mean, we're just getting smarter as a species. That's all it is. And there are these old ideas that have sort of stuck around about reality that people haven't really been able to shake. And there's this weird social taboo about criticizing people's beliefs about God and the universe. It's so weird. Being a person who understands, hey, clearly, this God guy is not real. He's not actually there. He's just sort of, it's just an idea, kind of to keep you humble, to keep you from thinking you're in charge of everything. But, in reality, we kind of are. We kind of are in charge. The whole earth is at our disposal, and we have the brain power necessary to leave the earth and go to other planets and pillage them too of all of their natural resources. If we really wanted to, we could spread across the galaxy and soak up all the water and eat all the carbon and all the different natural resources that we could possibly consume if we wanted to, if we really poured all our energy and effort into it. And in fact, that may be very well what we need to do in order to survive, because we're running out of planet to devour, right? So I think we really kind of need to shake off these social taboos and be willing to admit, okay, yeah, maybe God isn't actually real. Okay, he's not really there. It's just this social culture that exists within religions that people don't want to admit to their parents and their grandparents. Okay, come on now. God isn't real, is he? Hell is not real. You don't need to teach your children hell is real. or even heaven. Nobody's ever come up with a good explanation of what heaven could possibly be anyway that would really be that desirable. But anyway, thanks for listening.